Now that we've created our to-do list app and we've learned all about how we can persist data using databases and more specifically using MongoDB, a NoSQL database, then the next step is learning how we can actually deploy these apps which have a database associated with it out there onto the World Wide Web. Currently, in order to access our website, we go to localhost 3000. And that means that we're using our local computer as the server to serve up the information and data in our website. And that backend, of course, relies on Node.js. Now, in the last module, we also learned how to persist our data, to save it to a database using MongoDB. Now, the MongoDB database is also served up from our local computer. And the URLs that we use to access, be it our server or MongoDB, all have the word localhost in it. So if you take a look up here, when we've been accessing our app, we've been using the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. We've been going to a port 3000 on the localhost. And when we needed to access our database, we've been accessing it at port 27017, also on our localhost. Now, the part before the colon differ because here we're using the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, so a set of rules that govern how we transfer data across the internet to access web pages. But here we're using the MongoDB rules, which determines how you can access data in a MongoDB database. But essentially, everything is all hosted on the same laptop that we're using for development. And this is great for testing while you're developing your apps, but currently nobody other than ourselves can actually access our website, which kind of defeats the purpose of it being a website, right? If it's just made for us. So what can we do? Well, we know from previous lessons that we can use a data server that's online 24/7 and attached to the internet backbone, which will be able to host our Node.js server and be able to deliver our website wherever it's requested across the internet. And we've been using Heroku to do this, which means that instead of using localhost 3000, we can use some sort of app name .herokuapp.com, and anybody, no matter where they live or how they're accessing the internet, they can all access this web page through this address on the World Wide Web. Now, that's all very well and good for an app that doesn't have a database, but our app does. In our case, our to-do list app actually needs to talk to the database to be able to create, read, update, and delete data from our database. And if it's trying to do that from Heroku servers to the Mongo database that's hosted locally on our computer, then that's not really going to work. So there's a few differences between a server and a workstation. For example, the server pretty much has to be online 24/7, so that anybody who requests data from it can access it no matter what hour of the day. Also, depending on what ISP or internet service provider you're going with, they have strict rules regarding whether if you can set up a server using your home internet plan. So what we have currently is a workstation, and we need to move our database to a server for it to be served up 24/7 and across the internet. What we need to do is we need to set up another server which is capable of hosting MongoDB databases. And the service that we're going to use is MongoDB's own cloud service, which is called Atlas. And this is going to allow us to have a web-based address. MongoDB Atlas is going to host our database and serve up the data whenever it's needed. So that means that our Node.js app on Heroku will be able to make the necessary requests to our database that's hosted on the MongoDB Atlas cloud service, and we'll be able to delete or update and be able to get data back from that database. And that will all happen behind the scenes. Any users who need to access your website will be going through your app.herokuapp.com, and then your backend will liaise with MongoDB Atlas in order to talk to the database. So we no longer have any need for hosting our server or our database locally, and that frees up our app and liberates it and puts it onto the internet so that anybody can access it.